We're here for a new episode of Gigs Across the Tundra. They're coming out lately. We've been making them happen. It's been a minute. We're here with Victor from the band's... How do you pronounce your last name, Victor?
Toruno, Toruno.
Victor Toruno from the band's Sweet Sensations and King Booty Disco.
Howdy, y'all.
What's up, man? How you been?
Pretty awesome. Pretty great. I'm still riding a little bit of the high that from the show that we had this weekend.
Yeah.
It was really awesome and love y'all. Y'all are great.
Thanks, man. Dude, thank you for having us at any show you brought us out to.
The feeling is, as you very well know, extremely mutual.
Yeah. Oh, thank y'all.
Well, since that was our last show, we can pretty much just jump into that one before we get into all the nasty. I mean, worse gigs and stuff. I made that sound way more sexual.
I love the
nasty.
I mean, when it's King Booty, it's bound to get.
It's bound to get
kinda
nasty.
sexy. Kind of get a little sexy.
Yeah. But how did you guys feel like your set went?
I was very excited about it. There were a few mistakes, and I feel like you're the front man, right, for Mr. Igloo. It's so hard being the front person because you're trying to you're the supposedly the connection between the audience and the band, right?
That's what I use him for.
Oh, he's very good.
Yeah.
And you it's like you're the pilot of a plane, and you're just all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to mess up the chorus, so y'all strap in. Here we go, right?
Yeah.
And then you start it off, and so I was talking to my girlfriend about this, how I practice a lot. I practice my craft a lot, and it's not only the musicianship, but also the performer and the band leader, right?
Yeah.
You have to be able to your bass player is goofing up, and you're I got this. Let me help you out in a way that's not condescending. Because we're all here to make music. It's going to be a good time, right?
For sure.
And I felt like I had the trifecta. I felt like I had my practice is coming through, and my experience as a band leader, and also I felt like I was on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was in that zone. And then, but all that doesn't matter if the band isn't cooking. You know what I mean? And thankfully, my band was doing some good work. So I was all right, this is a good night.
Heck yeah.
And it to me, if there isn't a big crowd, or there's just one person, or you're just playing to the sound guy, if I can get the band to sound good, I feel very, very very, very happy, I guess. And I don't know, just feel satisfied.
So you kind of take the same approach I think that we do, which is you try to keep the same level of energy whether you're playing to 1 or 1,000 people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's you got to play the long game, right? Which the long game would be it's just conditioning, right? You're just conditioning yourself to be ready for those big crowds. And also when you're playing for just a few people, it could mean the world to them.
Right.
You don't know, right? And I've had moments where playing those small shows, some of those people stuck with me and are just have been fans of what I've been doing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have tons of stories like that. Just as an aside, I have a memory of whenever my other band Bathlight was doing an album release show, there was a guy who was we hung out at that gig. I never saw him before, and I've never seen him since. He was in a wheelchair, I think, lifelong disability or something like that. And the amount of energy in this dude, just because there was a metal band that was up on stage, just absolutely rocking out just to him, was palpable, and that guy loved us for what we gave him, so I feel you there. You mentioned a couple of flub ups, so we had some of our own.
I mean, one song messed up so bad I took it off the next set list.
So I want to talk about, because I'm going to mention a couple of that's going to be the one that one of the ones I was going to talk about. But let's pull your pants off and show all the kids at home what you're embarrassed about. What was the specific flub or clam that you made?
At that show, so we do a reharm and just basically a remix of September,
right? Which I love, by the way.
Thank you very much. And usually it starts off with the drummer and bass, right? Boom, 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 right, and he comes in.
Yeah.
However, they were not in the bass player and the drummer were not in sync, and so I stopped them, but I did it in a funny way, right? I was like, whoa, 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 y'all, we're about to go on a trip.
Made it part of the show. Yeah.
And I took the blame, right? Because I want everybody to be comfortable, and I'd rather make it a goof on my part.
Yeah.
And then I started the song, so they kind of know where
Lock
to
in
go,
with
right?
you.
They're locked in with me.
Yeah.
And then the song was fine.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I stole that. That is not my original. That's from Victor Wooten.
Right.
And his music lesson book.
Yeah.
Where one of the characters in the book does that. And so I was like, I'm taking that. That
Well,
is really good.
if you're gonna steal from anybody, steal from one of the greats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, what
absolutely.
book is that?
It's called The Music Lesson by Victor Wooten.
Gotcha. Cool.
In the book, it's the same thing, right? Like the bass player is not locked in with the song and the drummer, and the guitarist goes, "Whoa, we're about to go on this trip, and I forgot to put my seatbelt on," and he puts it on, right, and then they restart the song, and
That
all
almost
good.
feels like a James Brown move.
Yeah.
it might be.
Yeah. Any other good ones?
Let's see, where else? Oh, okay. So, so you guys know this as musicians that you are. Like, sometimes if you transition from one section to another in a song, sometimes you want it to be really abrupt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially like you're doing some like harder music, you want the melodic parts and then the right.
The surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not very disco.
Yeah.
Disco is usually kind of like it swells up or it swells down.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was one part where I call it a disco break. It's me being lazy and not writing a bridge.
Sure.
And just having drums and bass. Sure. So you have the groove going, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, you have that going. And then while that's going,
Wonderful beatbox performance, by the way.
thanks. While that's going, I can interact and play around with the audience. I ran out of things to talk about, so I was like, "All right, 3, 2, 1, the chorus," and then we would start over, right, full band, and it wasn't as clean as I would have liked it to be.
Sure.
So, for our end, two really clean, absolute destructive flubs, and both were me this time. First and foremost, and I don't remember the order in which this happened because I don't remember which song I did one of these on. But obviously, whenever we opened No Face, I waited too long to come in, and Alexis gave me a look, and I was like, "Hey, we're here. I don't know what's going on, but we're here."
Well,
you
then
know?
then when you guys did come in, I turned to Alexis and gave her let's just go one more time around so I can do my part.
And then I dropped out
Yeah.
like when I was supposed to, but I hadn't seen that signal. So then there's just no guitar underneath, what Alex is supposed to be doing. So I just did this horrible.
I didn't even hear that part.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I missed that.
Dang.
It was the most rock and roll thing I could have possibly pulled off. The other one was, and I don't remember what song I did this on, but I always forget how tiny that stage is.
Yes, it is. It's snug.
Oh, I almost did this too.
And I was just getting into it.
Yeah.
And I'm actually still suffering from this to this day, one of the side effects of getting older. I took a step to the right and there was no stage underneath my foot.
Yeah.
And my foot slid down and bonked on the side of the stage. And thankfully, because it's not a big stage, it's not a big enough drop that I would have fallen off into a whole orchestra pit.
Yeah.
So I ended up falling off to the side and assuming like a power stance.
That's so funny.
With one foot off the stage, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just down here rocking out now. Try and make it look cool.
Yeah, me and Sam we both had both of our cables kind of coming across like to the middle of the stage. So I was like just kind of, moving while I was playing and stepping back, and the cable caught my ankle, and I almost completely fell back into my amp.
And
I just pulled it back together. At least yours you could make it look kind of cool. I just looked like a dork.
I love I love caves, and there's some things I don't like about caves, and like caves is like a magical place because what'll happen there is like you'll get randos that come in, which is really nice. You'll just get like the regulars,
for sure.
So that way, like if you're in a band, you're like even if you don't bring any people, there'll still be a small
there's
crowd.
a crowd,
there.
yeah.
And it's really nice, and they're usually really sweet and supportive. But that stage,
So tiny.
Stage is
It's
snug.
hilarious watching you guys because you got all the horn players
Yeah.
and stuff sometimes. So it's like, it's like what were you guys rocking? Like what was that? Like a 7-piece, 8-piece?
That was eight piece. I
Yeah.
think
So so it's really funny watching you guys whenever it's like there's like 4 people on stage and then 4 people just standing off over next to the pool tables.
So, yeah, some of them could have been on stage, but they were being divas. I mean, hold on, let me take that back.
No,
they're being divas.
No,
Yeah, they're
speak your truth, brother.
They didn't put the amps in a certain place, so like they were like, I'd rather just be out. And then my guitarist was like having a really funny moment where he wouldn't turn up the amp, and I'm like, usually guitarists have to be asked to turn down, and I'm like, turn that up. Come on, Brendan. But yeah. So, anyways, like I said, I love Caves. It's I've had so many great shows there, and it has that magic. But also, like, it's a very DIY kind of place too.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Okay, so this is the thing that we really like to do with gigs across the tundra is best gigs, worst gigs.
Okay. What do you want to start with?
Man, give us the brutal stuff.
The brutal stuff.
First.
Okay. So I'm very honored to play with some really, really wonderful folks, and there's a band I played with, like a little post-pandemic time, called the McGrath Project, and I love playing with him. He got me this gig with his band out in like towards Austin. It was at a lake, right? And it's like a lake, like I don't know. Anyways, this lake had a restaurant in the middle of it, right? So there had to be like a little bridge that goes to the lake, right, or to the lake restaurant, and the parking lot is far, right? We didn't have any like tools or any like dollies or anything to like take the instruments and all the equipment over there, so we just had to walk across the lake, huffing it, and it was awful because like I've got this heavy amp and I got all my keyboards and stuff, so it's just the longest like setup. We played well, it went well, but like you're playing a 3-hour gig, so when you're done, guess what you got to do?
You gotta
Do it
haul
all
that back.
over
You got to
again.
bring it
Yeah.
right back into the
It's like
van
moving.
and then get paid, something.
Yeah.
So this is actually I've had many a similar story.
Yeah.
And hence why I have progressively, as my musical career has continued, I have downsized and downsized
Yes.
and downsized
Yep.
to the point that now, like for most of my gigs, I don't even play an amp anymore. I go guitar, Helix, front of house. That's
Yep.
my whole setup.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so was that kind of in some way like a learning moment for you where you started downsizing your loadout
That's
after
so
that?
funny that you say that because I just got a ZT lunchbox amp,
Mm-hmm.
and they're powerful. They're like it's like the size of a lunchbox, and you'd think it was like a practice amp, but it's like it's got some power behind it.
Some booty
And,
kicking.
yeah, some booty kicking. And so I use that, and that way I can just hold it in one hand really
Yoink it and
easy.
go.
And then with the guitar, I can just I don't need a stand or anything.
Yeah.
I just need 2 things.
Yeah.
It's the best. But like if I have my regular gig, it's like two keyboards, the big Roland amp.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, sometimes two keyboard stands, and then all the cables. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a drag. But yeah, that would be one of the rougher ones, equipment wise, performance wise. Oh man, so I know that you guys haven't had this experience where you're at a really nice venue and nobody shows up for your show, and you're only playing for the sound guy and the waitress.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, that was pretty much tulips. There was nobody there.
I know that in fact this was going to be the story that I was going to share, but yeah, go on.
Well, anyways, like my current girlfriend was at that show. We weren't together yet. She just came to support the band, and she was the only person who showed up. So we just played a show for her, and she was really kind about it. But at the same time, I'm just embarrassed, and I'm like, thanks for coming. It's just you. You've heard the songs. Now you're gonna hear them again, all by yourself. Yeah. So, anyways, what about your Tulips gig?
So the Tulips gig was actually, that one wasn't that bad. We had I
guess there were like 5 people out there, more than one.
There was an event going on that night.
It was
Yeah.
an
It
event
wasn't.
thing, but yeah.
It was. I mean, it was a very small event, not a whole lot of people. But
Well,
Sure.
and the frustrating part of it was that it was for a charity. So we were going there with the intent and hope of raising all this money and doing some really cool stuff. And I'm gonna float my own boat and blow up my own ego here.
Sure.
I came up with the genius idea of, I collect guitars. I mean, you look, right over there, I've got a ton of them. All right. I collect guitars, and I had just a bunch of, because I like to work on them too. So
Yeah.
I had a bunch of like little Squire, Strats and Mustangs and stuff. So I took a little $80 Strat that I had been working on. I dimed out with some cool pickups and some new tuners and stuff. And I brought that, and as that was going to be like a giveaway, I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. This is going to be like we're going to sell a bunch of tickets that are going to put a bunch of money towards and some kid is going to win this guitar, and he's going to remember the name of Cliff for the rest of his life, and he's going to rock out, and he's going to be like, yeah, I remember when I won this at a raffle. And yeah, it was desperately sad to I think it was like the bartender ended up winning it.
Wow. Now I don't feel as bad because it was all about you.
But on that note, I got an even worse one. So back whenever I was in when I was in Bathlight, and we were kind of doing little small local tours. I have a really great friend. His name's Alex D'Onofrio. He's like you. He's this incredible musician, absolutely massively talented, great guitarist. He was in something like 20 or 30 bands out there in NOLA in New Orleans. And he got us a gig out there, and I was super excited, but keep in mind, I'm in a metal band, specifically like a stoner metal band, we're super heavy, loud, lots of bass, and we show up, and all of the other acts are like big horn bands, this is all like, stuff like, things that I know that you love, like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Chic, and all these like funky, acts from back in the day. And so, you could just tell by the crowd that that's what they're there for. This is a dance crowd. This is they're here to shake their booty, right?
Yeah.
So I'm already getting kind of the butterflies because I just know, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's never quite as bad until you experience it, that there was like 300 people in the building, 400 people in the building. There was a ton of people in this venue, and we get on stage, and, we often do this thing where we open with like just tons of screaming feedback, and, cause that's, what you do when you're a badass metal band is, you squeal into the first song.
Yes.
and, it's 220 beats per minute and ear blisteringly loud.
Yeah.
And it took about 20 seconds for every human being in that venue to be out on the street looking for somewhere else to go.
Oof. This first, I'm glad we're doing this first, because this is giving me like PTSD. This is giving, like, I've had the honor of playing shows for like a while, and like I've experienced that, man. And it's like, ooh, okay, so I love gigs where my band is the oddball.
Right.
So I have the band Sweet Sensation, and we played a show at this like the big Red Barn, something like that, in like Dallas, right? And it's this guy, like, he does a video podcast called Behind the Red Car, and it's great. You guys should get on there. Mm-hmm. He's like super sweet. And really, really nice person, and he really liked our band, and he's like, hey, we're having a party, like, we would love for you to come out and like just perform, right? And so we get there, and it is not our crowd. It is not our crowd. It's a bunch of Certain kind of people.
I'm gonna make a wild guess. If it's a place called the Big Red Barn,
Yeah.
It's all rednecks.
I'm gonna guess it's a bunch of
It's a bunch of metal rednecks.
Metal
bunch
rednecks.
of good old yokels.
Yeah, a bunch of yoke. And they right. And so I had these preconceived notions of what was going to happen. Right.
True.
But there's this thing that I tell myself, like, if the music is good, then it's gonna be a great time. Like if it doesn't matter what genre it is, if it's good. Because like if I asked you guys like what's your favorite genre, you would be like, maybe you have some like preferences, but you probably be like open minded. Like I'll listen to whatever if it's good, right? Well, that's what most people are like.
Pretty much.
And so that's my foundational belief. So if we're playing, if I perform well and I'm honest with my music, then like we're gonna have a good time. And sure enough, like we got a lot of good feedback. We were not the coolest band there because we had color. Like, and what I mean by that, like we had shirts with some color on it. And it wasn't all black.
I'm gonna disagree with you. You're the coolest band in my book. Is it obvious that I'm just fawning over Victor?
Yeah,
right
but
now?
you're not a racist redneck. You're just red.
Yeah. Yeah. So that gig was it was great. Like everybody was really kind and like it was a good time. But like you have these like preconceived notions of like, oh, they're gonna hate me. I'm the darkest skinned person in this like place. But it went
sometimes I feel like we were having this conversation just the other day. Sometimes I feel like the exact opposite about that with Mr. Igloo, because I'm the only white guy in the band. You know, we've got Filipino, we've got Mexican,
Just all over
Salvadorian,
Hispanic,
brown, and then our drummer's black. So I'm like the one white guy. And was it Alexis who said this was the funniest thing? Was I explained all this and she goes, "Now how's it feel to be a minority?" I was gonna say to your point, like like on the genre thing, like it's really funny because like obviously I'm in Mr. Igloo, and we are in no way this kind of band, but like I'm a metalhead, you know.
Yeah.
You know this about me. Is like,
good.
dude, for me, the heavier the better. Like I was just joking earlier, I was blasting Meshuggah in this room, like right before you guys got here. Like for me, the heavier the better. But none of the bands that I'm in right now
go that heavy.
Do anything like that, you know.
Yeah.
I think to just echo your sentiment is, even though that's my vibe, that's my jam, just because that's most of what I listen to doesn't mean that's all of what I make and all of what I think is good out in the world. Right. It's just what speaks to my soul the most. You know?
Yeah, right. I love that. I think like I hold on. I had a thought. I'm very slow today. I apologize.
Yeah, the thought sunk.
I've got summer brain right now,
Yeah.
so please be patient with me. The band, what's it called? That does "Love Me, Say That You Love Me."
Oh,
the Cardigans.
Yeah.
All their people were like metal people.
No shit.
And they transitioned.
I didn't know that.
I thought you. Yeah, I thought you'd know that. But anyways,
I know Nickelback's a bunch of metalheads that got into like the whatever they do.
Yeah. But like so they were like they tried out doing metal, and they were like, why don't we do some pop music? And so, now we're talking about them.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
Several years later.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I think that's awesome.
So good gigs, best gig of your life.
Best gig of my life. Ooh. Okay, so there's a magical place called Tyler, right? And there's a place called the Green Room, and I took one of my bands there, but this is not the gig with you.
Yeah, no.
It was pretty great.
I remember the space, yeah.
Forever you will be, like, so in case y'all don't know, Cliff subbed on bass for the Sweet Sensations for our show at the Green Room, and boy went rock star mode, and people were eating him up. They were
for which I apologize.
He had the crowd in the palm of his hand. It was amazing. He did great. But anyways, one of the first times we played there, we had there was 100 people in this venue, and like they were just locked into the music and just dancing, getting into it, and it was one of my favorite gigs that I played because I did really good and it was awesome. And then I go and see my girlfriend who is hanging out by some of the merch, and she's sleeping. And I'm like, did you see how amazing I was? She goes, yeah, you're great. And I'm like, give me that humility.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a really fun gig.
Just to echo your sentiment real quick, the Green Room is a really interesting venue. Like
Yeah.
the way that like at the top it's some kind of museum, and then you go down and the stage is like in the basement.
Yeah. So the Green Room has had different venues.
Right.
Like we played there recently, and it was at a comedy shop. But they just find different places in Tyler and do this badass show. It was cool. And recently, to transition, I had another really great show that I'm going to remember for a long time at the Deep Ellum Community Art Festival.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I have a friend, her name is April, and she does a lot of hula hoop. Like, she is passionate about hula hoop and dancing. Passionate. So she's like always like hula hooping around Deep Ellum. And so she's a big fan of our music and has heard us like a few years ago. And so she asked this dance troupe to come while we were playing. So we're on this beautiful stage. There's a lot of people, and then all of a sudden there's this dance troupe that comes marching in and starts performing their dances while we're playing, while King Booty's playing, and I'm like, this is nuts,
dude. That's so
That's
high.
pretty sweet.
it was one of the coolest like shows because like the band was on fire. My performance was good and it was fun.
Did anyone film that? Because that feels like that would be great fodder for a music video.
I took a lot of we took a lot of pictures, but nobody took video, which I'm like, which is fine. I mean, I got something to remember it, and I wanted to see like how it was because I was like, the stage was big enough that I could like do my dad moves and just start dancing around because I'm not good at dancing. That's one of the best shows I've had in my life for sure.
Cool.
I mean, that's the trick sometimes with being frontman is you don't actually have to be good at dancing.
No, you don't.
You just have to make people think that you're having fun, or just have fun.
Yeah,
that's a better way to do it.
That is so true, right? Like you got to be genuine.
God, there's an artist, and when I figure it out, I'll send it to you because you would definitely like them. Oh, it was the person who opened for Modest Mouse. Remember? He would like that guy. Mattress Club, right?
Yep.
Mattress Club.
Or Mattress.
That's the name of the band.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it's
gotcha.
one guy,
Okay.
who goes by Mattress. Yeah, Modest Mouse chose him to be their opener.
Oh, cool.
On one of these last tours.
Oh, I just listened to them. I went to their show with the Pixies. It was pretty
Oh,
great.
snap. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
That is
Pixies are
cool.
great.
That was Pixies, yeah.
Yeah,
But they had that new bassist, too.
yes, they do. Wow, yes. I'd never listened to the Pixies except for that one hit song. You know that one that sounds really sad?
Oh, Where's My Mind?
Yes.
From, have you seen Fight Club?
Yes.
That was-
That's right.
That's the only Pixies song you've heard?
Yeah.
Man, I'll text you some stuff later.
Please do. Like, I had a great time. I wasn't.
listened to a lot of that.
I mean,
That's
the obvious suggestion is you've got to check out the album Surfer Rosa.
Okay.
See, I'm a Doolittle guy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. Like I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than Modest Mouse.
Sure. I mean, they're probably one of Modest Mouse's influences.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
They're 80s.
are you like are you a Nirvana fan at all?
Yeah, they're all right. Yeah.
You know, Kurt Cobain was obsessed with the Pixies.
Nirvana and Rivers Cuomo from Weezer.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
both pretty much just ripped off the Pixies before
Whoa.
they kind of popped off.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You know,
Okay.
ripped off, but they're such geniuses it becomes their own. you know,
Right.
Yes,
they're through their own
absolutely.
lens.
Absolutely.
I mean, shit. Like, you know, we could say the same thing about us and Weezer, but then I think I have said this about Alex so many times behind his back and never to his face. That he is one of the greatest songwriters I have ever known.
Oh.
That you know, there probably isn't another person around here who just forget technical chops, forget, you know, anything like that. Alex just writes a damn good song.
That's good. Yeah, I'm like, I know a lot of things, but you have to apply it too, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of tricks that I have, but I'm like, okay,
But you also have to let it go. At the
you
same
have to
time,
let it
too.
go, right? Yes.
You know, since we're talking about it, and if you feel uncomfortable about this, then we can cut this out.
Sure.
But you had the last time we hung out here, you and I had a real deep soul to soul conversation.
Yeah.
about you were feeling really rough and like in a kind of in a rut about writing new material, and that you had been kind of avoiding it, and you paid me a huge compliment. You said something akin to, you felt like you had come into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory coming in here and just jamming with me. And that was I took that as a massive compliment. And
there's no earthly way of knowing.
So when you're talking about getting amped up to start composing again, I'm taking that to mean that you have come out on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Or you feel like you've come out on the other side of that.
Yes. It's going to sound really gross. It's like a zit waiting to pop.
Oh, yeah,
Sure,
man.
it is.
And now it's ready to be expressed.
Yeah, no, totally.
I'm sorry.
So can I ask what changed? What was the trigger that helped you get to the point where you feel like, okay, this is it, I'm ready to jump back into it?
I think I needed I had a conversation with one of my mentors today, and he talked to me about how hard Bon Jovi works on his music, right? And he told me kind of like his schedule and like how he always tries to reinvent himself every record. And I was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Somebody at that level like still works really hard.
Yeah.
It made me feel really excited. And also like I'm working on the King Booty record right now too, and I need to have one more song. So like the ingredients were there, right? Like inspiration, a deadline, right? A goal.
Yeah. The homework theory.
And the homework, right? And then also I've given my brain time to kind of just absorb, right? Because it's always a cycle. I have to absorb and then like let go of like the ideas. And this summer has been really great because I've been playing with a few different bands. I played with Emo Blunderbuss, which I don't know if you guys ever
I've
heard of them.
The name, yeah.
I love them. They're like prog light band. Like we did some Rush, and so I had to learn some Rush music.
Oh, cool.
It was really
assuming
fun.
Keyboard parts.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Which was eeasy. And then some of the
Are you having to nail those Geddy Lee vocals too?
No way. Not with this voice.
I want to hear Limelight with that tone to it. Yeah,
right.
man.
No way. That'd be weird. Anyways, so then I did that, and I did a bunch of cover gigs where I had to just learn a bunch of music real quick.
Oh, dude, that's trial by fire right
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
So I love it. So like I'm just learning music, and then I've got some wedding gigs where I have to just learn more music. So like one of the bands was doing a bunch of 90s covers and 2000s covers, and then I'm learning a lot of Lana Del Rey stuff right now too, which is real pretty. And then the Rush stuff. So it's like, okay, I think I've got some new ideas formulating.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you guys do this as songwriters, but do you guys ever like have rules, right? And you're like, well, can't be doing that. I can't do that. And then you start kind of like, what if we can do that? You know what I mean? Like,
I think Alex does more than I do. Like, I think Alex has a vision for Mr. Igloo, whereas I'm just kind of the... Like, look at all the toys I have in here. I got to play with all of them eventually, so I just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, I mean, again, for like what we're doing for the album, there is a specific sound there that I'm trying to stay within, but at the same time, I mean, if I want to throw a guiro on something, I'm gonna guiro it up. I might cut it out later, but
I have a perfect example. I've got a track that I worked on about 4 or 5 months ago called "Way Out." And I love the song, and I actually think it would be a great Igloo song. And so I have this belief in songwriting that, especially when you're writing for an ensemble, when you're not just writing for yourself, is two things: yes and kill your darlings. And so the yes and attitude is, let's just try shit.
Yeah.
And if it works, it works, and we love it. And if it doesn't work, then move on. And kill your darlings is the very simple concept that if I bring an idea to the table, and you've seen the way that I write music. I write everything: the drums, the guitar, I write absolutely everything. But I never expect, for instance, that Sam, you would just learn the bass line that I've written. I expect you to kill my darling. I expect you to take that bass line, destroy it, turn it inside out, turn it into your own. Yep. Same thing with anything that I would write for Alexis or Alex. So, like, that's what I've been wanting to do with that track, Way Out. But the first 2 times that I showed it to Alex, he liked the ideas, but it's too metally, I think.
It's just, I don't think it's what I'm looking for this, for songs. Well, I guess I can just give it away. We're going to call the album Songs Across the Tundra, just like we call this podcast Gigs Across the Tundra. We call our other podcast Bands Across the Tundra. The album will be...
I love themes.
Branding, baby.
I love themes.
I just blanked. I just didn't. I think it's a little... What I'm really going for the album is to make the songs easy enough for a beginner guitarist to play, like a Blue Album, early Weezer kind of thing.
Why?
I like simplicity.
Yeah.
And it comes from my pop roots of sitting in that pop studio and writing all that stuff. I'm not trying to overthink anything, and I don't want to make other people overthink anything. And I think that there's other places for the heavier mathy stuff. I wish you had written Way Out like 6 months earlier, because it totally could have ended up on Nowhereland.
Yeah.
But it also could then, we talked about the future stuff that we won't talk about right now.
To be fair,
there's potential there.
The reason I wrote that song was because of Marty the Mastodon.
Yeah.
I wrote that because you came up with Marty the Mastodon, and I saw that as a doorway opening, because I was like, oh, well, now we've done it.
Yeah.
So what if we did it again, but cooler?
Yeah. But see, Marty the Mastodon, it's like, it's gonna get weird, but it's like a sex club. And that first level of the sex club, it's just people making out, maybe having a little bit of sex. But then you go, see your song, we're going down to the dungeon. And that's where it's just too much for me. I don't want to put on the gimp suit. I don't want to get chained. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to hang out upstairs and just, have a good time.
I just played at a sex club.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Hold on, dude. Hold on.
I forgot about that.
We gotta close out on that story.
Okay. This is
you gotta. I don't think we're gonna get to bands.
I don't mean to interrupt.
101 right here.
It's
well,
okay.
Let me just say it. I love hearing another songwriter talk about their craft.
Sure.
And so you remind. We were talking about best gigs, worst gigs. I'm like, here's an odd gig. Yeah.
Yes, odd gigs. Oh my God. Got a whole new segment.
So I recently played at a swingers club, and so I didn't know it was a swingers club until I showed up, and I was like looking for my band leader. I'm like, hey, this place is suspicious. He starts laughing, and he puts his arm over my shoulder. He goes, "This is a swingers club." Oh, okay, cool. So he introduces me to the bar owner, and she's like, "Well, would you guys like a tour?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, I would love a tour." This is as we're setting up, so there's nobody there yet,
sure.
Right? And she shows me there's a giant room where it's just a bunch of beds.
Yeah.
And
oh my. Okay, I just have to note the face that Samantha is making right now is just a look of pure fear and disgust.
And this is why you should go buy merch and buy our music, so we can start adding video to this podcast, so you can see the faces Samantha makes.
Yeah, that's true. Samantha's pretty great. Anyways, so I'll try to keep it PG-13.
You can go as hard as you want.
Okay. I bet that's what they did. Anyways, so there was one room where it was just a bunch of beds, and there was a giant bed in the middle of the bedroom. So you can, frolic about. There was a room that was...
Wait, one giant bed for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
like Alaskan king size kind of thing?
It was enormous. It was...
Antarctican king size.
Maybe so. Tundra size. Anyways, so... There was also another room that was like a make-believe apartment.
Sure.
With cameras. So you can make your own video, right? And then there was also like a multi-person shower.
So this isn't just a swing room. This is a whole-ass porn studio.
It was. And then they were like, well, do you want to go to the BDSM section? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Show it all to me. I want to know what happens. This is outside of my lifestyle. So we go into this like really cool little it's like a strip club, but there's just chains all over the place and places to hook people up, and and it's really funny because it's like there's a coffin.
Sure.
So if you wanted to make believe that you're a vampire.
Oh, sure. You can do like vampire fantasy.
And there's a little hole at the top of the coffin. It's like
He's got to suck the blood, dude. He's got to suck the blood.
Got to get the blood out, man.
Which is great if you took a pill and you've had an erection for 4 hours.
So
Vampires are good for that.
I thought it was very funny. I'm like, that takes a lot of trust to be like, hey, I know this is weird, but will you go with me to the BDSM dungeon? And I'm gonna make believe that I'm a vampire. And the only way to help me is anyway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So there was also there was a little stage for little people. It's very inclusive.
Awesome.
It was really nice, and there's also like a handicap area, which is really cool.
Hey, good for them, man.
They're super inclusive.
Yeah, dude, they are. Yeah,
I love it.
good
And
for them.
like, there's all these really cool posters around, like consent is cool.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like, that's great. Always ask.
Yeah.
And so
That's
it felt like it was a really beautiful community.
Yeah.
Anyways, after that, we start setting up. We get on stage. We start playing our songs. And there was a DJ, too. And the DJ was playing the nastiest, like, dirtiest sex songs, right?
DJ Klitz.
DJ You've been waiting to use that. That was good. Anyways, so, and then it would go to us. And it would be, like, 90s cover band stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And people were going crazy. People were losing their minds over us instead of the DJ.
Was it your usual funky, disco kind of vibes?
No. This is another project that I was playing.
What kind
with.
of music was it?
It was like 90s, 2000s cover.
Cool.
It's a good band. And
Please tell me that at some point somebody played the Bow Chicka Wow Wow.
Or Sex and Candy.
oh my gosh, why didn't we do that?
Yeah. That would have been a good
Alex,
one.
you're so smart. And then there were people just walking around naked. So like as I was playing, I wanted to be cool and professional because my jaw just dropped. Yeah, I was just like, wow, watching people like naked as I'm performing. So I had to be like, I just focused on my fingers, and I'm like, I want to make people feel comfortable and accepted.
Yeah.
I don't want to say any rude things,
Did that put a whole new meaning to when people say when you're nervous, just picture the crowd naked?
That was really good. I didn't have to imagine.
That's that Squidward meme though. Just picture everyone naked. He's beautiful. Word. Well, I think you're gonna get over to your thing pretty soon.
Oh yeah, okay.
Before we go, is there any update on King Booty the album? Any kind of idea when that's gonna happen?
My goodness, it is. We are so close. We have like 2 songs we got to finish, and I have to write one more. But I'm really excited because I love concept albums. I love something that brings it all together.
What's the concept?
The concept will be the life and times of King Booty.
Cool. Dig it.
And
King Booty as a character?
As a character.
Okay,
yes,
bet.
Yes. And it's going to be the rise and fall of King Booty.
Have you personified King Booty in this way before in any of your other music?
No, I haven't.
So this is going to be a fresh take on King Booty for the rest of us.
Character.
Defining the character, the persona.
I love that.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to make a request. All right, this is going to balloon the expense report on the new King Booty album. Is I want you to package it with a comic book that tells the story that I can read as I put the album on and listen through the story, and I get to read along with the events of each tune.
All right. Well, we'll also put like a gold chain and a Crown Vic.
Yeah.
And some cocaine.
Yeah,
that's what
I'm about.
Feel.
That was hilarious. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, man, that was awesome, man. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome. Love y'all.
We love King Booty. We love Sweet Sensations.
We love you.
We can't wait to play again.
Yeah, it'll happen soon, I'm sure.
Hell yeah. Cool, dude.
Anything else you want to plug before we go?
Yeah.
Sweet Sensations will be releasing some music coming up pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be our single Love Spam Caller, and
Sick.
it's about falling in love with a spam caller.
Awesome.
So
I
that's
like
coming
that.
soon.
That is awesome.
In about a month or so.
Sweet. Can't
Bet.
wait to hear it.
1, 2, 3.
Ba-da-ba. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
We harmonized.
It did harmonize.
We harmonized with Mandy, too, from Big Heaven.
Love her.
Yeah, she's so nice.